to the Tuesday night principled Chiro broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers. I'm Dr. Brian Moriarty, your esteemed host for tonight's exciting call with Nolan Halverson. But before we get to Nolan Halverson, guys, we got DE coming up in a week, and we've got the Chiro Cup from the GCC. Let's get that graphic up there, Lee. There we go there. We got the Chiro Cup coming up next Thursday, 10 a.m. start, Ackworth, Georgia here. And let's walk over here. We're gonna get a little interactive with this broadcast here. We're gonna go. I'm at my house here. We got a little putting green here set up here. We're gonna show you guys. There we go. Okay, see that ball there? Here we go. I'm gonna get a one-handed putt about 25 feet. There it goes. It's on its way. It's no good. But I will tell you this. I'm excited for golf. I've supported this event every year they've had it. Me and Eddie Martinez and Steve Judson, and I know a lot of people are coming. But being here on a putting green makes me feel like some golf. And this is golf for a great cause, guys. This is the GCC's big event. There it is. Oh, okay. Just take over the screen, Lee. Love it. All right. Next Thursday, October 21st, 10 a.m., you get a round of golf. You get a huge buffet lunch. You get breakfast, sandwiches. You get a Bloody Mary bar. There's drinks on the course. It's a fun time, guys. You don't even have to be good at golf, okay? Our team never wins, okay? We go to have a good time and support the GCC. So if you're coming into DE and you have not registered, if you're coming in Thursday, just come in early Thursday morning or come Wednesday night. You're already coming Thursday, so you're already missing time in the office. All right, come play some golf, okay? Support the GCC. Even if you stink, you'll have a good time. It's a great event, probably the most fun you'll have on a golf course. These guys do a great job. So anyway, come support the GCC. Come play some golf next Thursday. Can't wait for that exciting event. Now, DE, let's talk about it, guys. 9 days away. There it is, October 21st to the 24th. In Marietta, a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. We want to get everybody there. Now, this was a quick turnaround from the other one, just 2 months in between. And I think a few people are kind of asleep at the wheel. I've heard a few people, still waiting to register. Guys, it's 9 days away. Flights are still cheap, okay? Hotels, still can get hotel rooms. Now's the time, guys. 9 days away. Let's get excited about Dynamic Essentials, okay? You know I'll be there. You know our speaker tonight will be there. Everybody's going to be there. So if you haven't registered, still time. Get in there. Come to DE next Thursday through Sunday. And then one more time with that graphic, Lee. Let's come up with the upcoming dates so people have them. We got Sarasota back-to-back after this one, January 20th to the 23rd and April 21st to the 24th. And then back to Atlanta, August 11th to the 14th. That's a great picture too, Lee. See that guy standing up in the back? That's me, right under the life. That's me right there. But that was our prayer on Sunday DE. That's an awesome picture. Love it. All right, guys. So let's get going with our speaker tonight on our Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast. We actually have a non-DC taking the stage tonight, and those are pretty rare. I don't know how often we have non-DCs on here, but I got to tell you this, Nolan Halverson is a guy who friggin' steps up, and he's an awesome young kid. And, like the first time I remember he came to DE, and this guy, okay, is a student at Life West, flies all the way across the country to DE, whether it be in Atlanta, whether it be in Florida. This guy's there. Every single time he's there. I don't think he's missed in several years. A lot of us chiropractors can't even say that. But this guy brings a ton of energy. He brings a ton of people with him. And I think this guy is going to be an unbelievable chiropractor. He's just 9 months away from graduation. Look out when this kid gets out here. He is going to take the world by storm. But I love his energy. So we here on the Tuesday Night Call decided, let's put this kid up here and let's see what he can share. And I think he's going to do an amazing job tonight. So originally from Hermantown, Minnesota, but currently hailing from Hayward, California, the home of Life West. Let's give it up for Nolan Halverson. Take it away, Nolan.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everyone. I am unbelievably honored to be speaking here tonight. When Brian was doing the intro, it reminded me of when me and Armani first came to DE, and it would have been 2 Augusts ago, I think. And I remember everyone was making a really big deal about us flying all the way from California to Georgia. But geography was a class I never did great in, and I always thought Georgia was right on top of Texas. So I was like, yeah, the people from Florida are covering the same distance. But once I looked on the Delta map a few DEs ago, I was like, wow, we really are going all the way across the country. But every single time, it's been worth it. The first time I walked into DE, we got in there Thursday night, I think a little late, and people were already hanging out kind of at the bar. And me and Armani, we walked into their room, and Dr. Liz Rascal was the first one to come say hi to us. And she shook our hands, grabbed our elbows, and said, Dr. Sid always said, you guys need a good handshake. And then she tried to set me up with one of her friends until she realized I was only 20 at the time. So right now I'm 22. I graduate in June. So I'll be graduating at 23. And a big reason I'm on this path is because of Dr. Joe Parpala up in Hermantown, Minnesota. I got into chiropractic 100% because of him, and DE was kind of what got him on fire. How I understand it. When I was a senior in football, I was the captain of my football team. I was going to play college football. D2, I wasn't anything special, but enough for a D2 scholarship to go get some business degree and then spend the rest of my life selling whatever job I could get. And one game I caught a pass, got tied up, was trying to reach the ball into the end zone, and I got blindsided. And watching the video, my whole neck and head broke my entire fall in the collision, and really bad concussion. I went from the captain of our football team, super having a good time in high school, to sitting in back of the class on a bunch of drugs from the neurologist because that's all they could give you besides tinted glasses. They also gave me tinted glasses. So I was sitting in the back of the classroom, drugged out of my mind with tinted glasses. And I was wondering, what's the point? This neurologist, who was the best in our area, was telling me that this was the only solution, that they were going to give me special stuff at school so I could have extra time for tests and maybe answer banks or something, and that I would have help at my job, what I ever decided doing. They were setting me up to live the rest of my life disabled. And when we would ask about the chiropractor, they would say that stuff is fake. That stuff doesn't work, which is ridiculous because it makes more sense than any of the crap that they're doing out there. And they're telling 18-year-old kids that they're going to spend the rest of their lives on drugs, when the solution is nothing more than clearing a subluxation in the neck to allow life to run through the body. And that was it. Finally, my family had enough, and we went to see Dr. Joe. And I remember he does NUCA. So I was laying on the table. He had his wrist, for, if you don't know what NUCA is, it's more of a light force upper cervical technique. And I remember thinking for a brief second, like, the neurologist was right. This is quackery. What the hell is this guy doing behind my ear? Then I got adjusted. I felt all this pressure flush out of my head, and life rushed back into me. And the room got brighter. I felt connection again to life. It was the first time I felt connection in 3 months to even myself. I was on the path of killing myself because there was no options. The best neurologist in our city had nothing he could do for me. until we found chiropractic. And after that first adjustment, I knew that the world needed to know what we had to do. And I mapped out my path to get into chiro school, found Life West, um, came in with 90 credits, did that in 2 years, and that's how I got on the path of becoming a chiropractor by 23. And then when we got into chiro school, it took Dr. Joe would tell me about DE, but it never made it to like the top of the list with all the other things going on. And apparently it was all the way across the country. I didn't know that at the time, but didn't make it until like my first year in. And when we went that first year, and I remember sitting, we were planning on, California was shut down. We were going to Atlanta. We were going to do Friday, Saturday night trips at the bars, go out, see what the city had. But every night we would sit and we would talk with the most brilliant doctors we ever came across. And then we'd go back to our room and we would talk about how crazy this place was. It was pure love. It was Dr. Paul and Dr. Marilyn grabbed us within the first 2 days and said, "We are taking you out to lunch." And they kind of gave us the rundown on everything. And there's one moment I'll never forget in um, the whole weekend was when Dr. Walter walked up there to share with us. Um, I really couldn't understand him. I'm from Minnesota. We don't have super strong accents there, but he talked about being a chiropractic fanatic and how he's, which is like, be a fanatic. That's awesome. But it was how he was saying it. I remember sitting there in the front row and I felt my heart do a complete 180 and put me on the path I am today. Because before DE, I wanted to bring chiropractic to the world, but I wanted to retire at 40. I wanted to marry a 20-year-old when I was 40. I had no real purpose or direction in my life. And then throughout my last year and a half at DE, people will tell me stories of what Nolan Helverson was like before DE, and it's a completely different person. I was at the second DE, would have been a month of me being 21 years old, right? That's what everyone looks forward to drink all the time in high school. And my few years of undergrad, I did enjoy having a good time and whatnot. And still, my first year in chiro school, I'd go out every other weekend or whatnot. And then when it was finally legal, a month into being legal, the innate thought flash message from God came in: stop drinking. So what do we learn at DE? Be aware, humble, and obedient to the voice of God within. So I did that. I did 4 months. So I got through Thanksgiving, I got through Halloween, I got through New Year's without drinking at all. Came out on the other end, and now I hardly drink. As a 22-year-old, I'll have one or two here or there maybe, and I feel a lot more connected to the source. And it's all about shedding the husks and becoming an empty vessel. And DE always does a good job at putting you back where you need to be. And that's why I hear people say it all the time. That's why it's 4 times a year, so we can keep going straight. But when I look at it, if we could have it 6 times, that would be awesome, because usually my whole third month before DE is when I'm struggling a lot more, when I'm not doing any breaths, where I'm not reading, where I'm kind of just holding on. So this last gap between the last DE and now has been a real eye-opener for that. I started the Monday after last DE. I had my first day as in my preceptor. So I worked super, super hard in my first quarter of clinic, and I got all my requirements to preceptor in 1 quarter of clinic. And that was all because of DE. I was coming out of giving, loving, serving, and doing. Most people do it in 3. The overachievers were doing it in 2 before. With DE and giving, loving, serving heart, I did it in 1. And I had a lot of help from Dr. Austin Davis on getting my mindset right for that. God bless him. I love him. And we did it, and now I'm preceptor with Mindy Pels, who's a super awesome doctor. And that first Monday, the first 2 months, every single day I would go, and so grateful with such a big heart to go from serving 10 patients a week in the Life West clinic with waiting 10 minutes to get your paperwork signed. And then I have really bad handwriting, so I had to do it again every single time almost. And then going back and then adjusting and then having to wait another 30 minutes to see a patient, getting to a real life clinic where you can adjust and just keep your heart in that giving, loving, serving mode. And then what I realized over the last few months, it hasn't been there as much. And what kind of happened there was I got invited to 2 free seminars. I won slash whatever, went to 2 free seminars. And I'm a yes person. When an opportunity comes up, I usually don't think twice. And I took them and I went, and they were both awesome. I learned a lot and have some different ways to say things, some different systems, but they both really went right for the head, right? By Wednesday that week, I forgot all about the conference, but stuff like DE, when we talk about shedding the husks, that's a change that you'll have for your life. Right? So what happened was I got it out. I got out of the headspace of giving, loving, serving, and doing for the sake of doing it, expecting nothing in return, to the give, love, do, serve, so I can get this in return. That was something crazy that I realized at some of these different conferences. Was Sid did a great job, and his words are out there, but without the meaning behind them. At both of these seminars, the give, do, love, serve was said at least a couple of times, but not one person brought up the expecting nothing else in return. And you could see DE was one of the first seminars I went to besides technique ones. So when every speaker would go up and say something at DE about, we're not trying to sell you on anything here, but on yourself, that was my first thing on it. So after a while, I was like, yeah, no, duh, that's what everyone does. But getting to these other places, it was crazy that every speaker almost had something that you could buy or something that they were selling. And that was a big reminder to me on how special of a place DE is. And I didn't do a good job at protecting my head or my heart coming out of those. And I was having a crappier time in practice after my head and heart were filled with those. So I know it's said a lot, and about making it to every DE is important. I usually do layover. I do the red eyes, so I just wake up and we're there. It doesn't feel like that long of a trip, but it is so worth it, and it keeps you on focus. And if there's any other students on here, they treat you so well as students, and nobody's trying to get anything from you. Another really cool experience I had was at the 2Ds ago, the last one in Florida, where me, Bree, and Armani, we went down a week early to go see all the Florida docs, or at least some of the Florida docs. There's so many of them. And with open arms, Dr. Dana Beckshire let us stay in his house. And the first night we sat by his pool and probably talked for 2 or 3 hours on how we built his practice. And he wasn't looking for anything besides pouring into us. And you just go into other places and it's buy this program, buy that program. I'd love to help you. Just buy this. It's awesome because there has to be an exchange of goods, right? There has to be exchange of services. We're not looking for anything for free, but how I see it is you guys pour into us students so we can go pour into our communities. And that's our paying back, is showing up every time and being the best chiropractors we can be. So to change the world, because that's really what DE is about, being the best versions of ourselves so we can change the world. And then on that same trip, we got to spend some time with Dr. Walter. And this was a super special moment for me because, like I said earlier, he was the one who kind of cracked my shell. He was the one who really took off that first husk and pulled it off and opened me up to get the rest out of the weekend. And I remember sitting back on his reclining chairs in his living room, and he was going over the Sid's baseball story, and probably heard it 4 times up until there. But when he said it out of his hollow vessel, that one just really stuck. And I was a person who would get really super upset with COVID and how stupid it was. And I'd get super rattled. I'd post stupid stuff on Instagram, which people need to be educated. But end of the day, why am I letting that rent space in my head? So that was super awesome of Dr. Walter. We got to spend time up with Dr. Judson, still that little trio with Armani and Bree. We went and we flew over to Dr. Judson's office. And again, let us stay into his house and kind of integrated us into his family for the few days we were here. And the funniest thing was they have one of the best chiropractors in the world as their dad, and they kept asking us to adjust them. And I was a little farther along than both Armani and Bree in adjusting classes in clinic or whatnot. So I got the nod to go adjust set up on if there's any Life West admin or whatnot watching this at some point. But anyway, I remember his super cute daughter came up, and the whole weekend she was saying, "Dad, my neck needs to be adjusted. I have a subluxation." And Dr. Judson would say, like, "You are already adjusted. You don't need it." Because apparently she's a little crack addict. But I was checking some of her siblings, and she got on the table, and I was like, "All right, I'll check you. Let's do this." And then she was right. She knew her body. She had a subluxation in her neck. So I went and told Dr. Judson about it. And I said, yeah, maybe you want to adjust her. And he said, "You can do it." So I adjust her or set up on her, and she starts like screaming, goes, "Ow!" And I'm like, I get ready to protect myself. I'm like, Dr. Judson's about to come knock me out for hurting his daughter. And he just laughed, and he just said, whenever that happens in my clinic, I just say, "Oh, yep, that was a perfect adjustment. Your daughter's better." And they go on. But a few hours later, his daughter starts talking about having like a runny nose and her throat's hurting and she's coughing or whatnot. I'm like, holy crap, I just knocked out Dr. Judson's daughter's immune system with a bad adjustment. And turns out the next morning, she was just trying to trick her dad into letting her hang out with us. So that was a super special moment. So again, I wouldn't be on the path I am without DE. And so I really look up to you all and love and appreciate all of you for creating the atmosphere for us to shed husks and for us to become better chiropractors. I remember after my first DE, we brought probably the most with us after that first one, because our fires and our lights were so bright. And all I could say was, it gave me more confidence in myself, and it gave me more confidence in chiropractic. You have to check it out. And that's true. The first time, ripped off a bunch of husks, put me on the direction. And now when I don't always have that huge visceral reaction at every DE, but that's because I'm going on the right way. When I start noticing I'm off a little bit, always get pulled back on and start heading in the right direction. And I've explored other seminars and stuff, and they're all good. They're all good, but nothing compares to DEs. And 4 a year isn't enough, so you better at least get to those 4. I love and appreciate you all. Thanks for letting me share, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night.
Nolan, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, hold on. I'm pressing buttons. Great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Dude, loved hearing your testimony, and wow, you've really gotten so much out of DE. You know, it's so great to see that, man. I'm so proud of you, and and your whole crew over there at Life West, man.
Yeah, not just me. We have an army here.
Are you coming next week?
I'll be there.
See, like, it's not even an issue. Like, I know you're gonna be there. I know you're gonna bring a nice crew. So, thank you, Nolan, for sharing your heart, man, your soul, dude. You're wise beyond your years, man. Love and appreciate you, brother.
Love and appreciate you.
All right, buddy. I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Peace out from the Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast.